guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review. This movie is a horror film from Chile. This is spoken in the English language with a little bit of Spanish language English subs. Released in the year 2016, directed by Patricio Valadares, and this film is called Downhill. So Downhill is about these two mountain biking American brothers. They're very well known and they're in Chile for an annual race. Now during this race, unfortunately, one of the brothers crashes and dies. And so the surviving brother, he's absolutely traumatized by this. He vows never to ride again and he goes back to the United States. So this is having a devastating effect on his relationship with his girlfriend because he just hasn't got closure and it's always playing on his mind. So a few months pass and his friend from Chile gives him a Skype call and he basically begs this mountain biker to come back to Chile because there's a sponsorship deal that promises a lot of money. So it takes a lot of convincing, but eventually the brother reluctantly accepts and he, along with his girlfriend, go to Chile for this race, but before the race they want to do a little bit of a bike ride through the woods. Now this is going to be unlike any other bike ride in the woods because it's going to change their lives forever because they come across this man who's crashed his car. Now not only has he crashed his car, he appears to be very sick and he also got a bullet wound inside him. So they don't know what's going on. This duo is very shocked by their findings and they want to help him but they just don't know how. So to add further complications to the matter, they realise that this man is wanted by a group of locals for reasons that I'm not going to go into. And so this duo are trying to help this guy and in the meantime they realise they are now involved in this predicament and they themselves have become targets. So whether or not they can save this man and save their own lives is something you're going to have to find out for yourself because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Downhill. I was very excited to see this film for two reasons. Now when I first saw the trailer I knew nothing about it and I thought it looked really good. It looked like a body horror film, it looked like a very nasty film. And to add excitement to this anticipation of watching this film, I realised that it was directed by Patricio Valadares. Now if you are familiar with extreme cinema, you might know the little Chilean film called Hidden in the Woods. Now Hidden in the Woods, it had a very strong themes, it had very strong violence and it wasn't afraid to really push the envelope. It was very provocative. And that's what grabbed the attention of the extreme cinema world. So Hidden in the Woods, although it wasn't a great film, it was still a film that I really appreciated for what it was. And it has since been remade by the same director in the United States, starring Michael Biehn, which was nowhere near as good, but it still had that very sinister heart. So I was very excited to see what Patricio Valadares could deliver in Downhill. And what I will say he does deliver is an incredibly intense experience. This is an experience that is very appropriate to the title of Downhill. It actually feels like you're racing downhill. It feels like this movie doesn't let you catch your breath is because it's so intense. It's a very short film and it's a very deliberately short film is because it doesn't take long to get to the basis of what's going on and then all of a sudden it's just a domino effect. It doesn't let up, it doesn't let you catch your breath, you just go straight down and the situation is going from bad to worse in a very rapid manner. And so it's impossible to feel bored by this film and so for that reason I will say that is the film's biggest plus is that it might have problems but you can overlook the problems because it's so entertaining. As I said, it's one of the most intense experiences I've had this year. And so the situation goes from innocent bike riding to something of a David Cronenberg sort of body horror. And these locals are very intimidating. And all of a sudden you feel that these innocent duo have now found themselves in a situation that is beyond terrifying. So I thought the story arc and the continuity of the film was fantastic. Although the movie does have problems in its editing and its choreography here and there, I will say overall it's very good. So at the start of the film you do have a mountain bike style of movie. It gives you a backstory, but it never gets bogged down in its backstory. It knows exactly how much time it wants. It gives you enough to really enjoy the overall experience when crap really does hit the fan. So you've got some very good camera angles in the mountain biking. You've got the GoPro, which actually gives it a strong intensity when they're going through the hills. You can actually feel like you're on the bike as well. And that was very appropriate, as I said, is because when the bad things start to happen, you feel like you're on that mountain bike and you feel like the mountain bike doesn't have any brakes. You can't stop to have a breather and you just have to race and you have to brace for impact. And when the impact does happen in this film, it does hit you like a sledgehammer. I thought this movie goes absolutely balls to the wall crazy. I had no idea where Patricio Valadares was taking me. So as I said, it's the mountain bike without brakes. You're bracing for impact. You know it's going to really hurt. But in this instance, you actually feel very rewarded when you actually hit the impact. When you actually feel the impact of the film, you feel as though you've watched a genuine experience. experience. And so for that, I think that is by far, as I said, the biggest positive. It showcases that Patricio Valladares is a very versatile director. You've got beautiful cinematography, it captures Chile very well. Then all of a sudden when it goes very dark, it's very gory, it's very disgusting, you feel very queasy in the stomach. It feels like a David Cronenberg sort of out of this world experience. And then you've also got the suspense of the locals chasing these people. And so I thought the suspenseful moments were done very well, is that they utilised the woods very well. It's a very intense and sort of claustrophobic environment that these people were facing. And so you knew that this duo were very innocent, and they actually felt very innocent. They didn't feel like superheroes that were made from nothing. Is that when they face problems, all of a sudden they can just take on any problem. You actually felt like these people could be you. You could be you and your girlfriend stuck in this sort of environment. So you actually feel as though you want them to get out of this. So yeah, the gore effects were fantastic, and as I said, the ending is the best part. So it does give a lot of questions, and fortunately it does answer all those questions. So at the end of it, you just feel as though you've hit an experience that you weren't expecting, but it's one that I'm definitely saying go out there and have. Unfortunately, there are a few problems with this film. As I said, some of the editing was a little bit off, especially in the fight choreography. I thought there were some moments that didn't quite hit very well. I thought that it could have been polished a little bit, and unfortunately it does showcase the fact that it is a lower budget type of movie. And so there were moments in the cinematography that looked very polished, but it is contradicted here and there by some of the actual editing in scenes here and there. Unfortunately, it's few and far between, but there are moments where you can actually notice it. And then there are another problem of foreigners implying that they're American. Now, I don't know if this is the case, but I am suggesting this because of the fact that some of the accents seemed very off. Now, there were accents that seemed authentic, and I guess they are from the United States, but I believe that there were some Chilean actors trying to pass off that they were actually American. And the reason why I think this is because some of the accents were very off, and they were very noticeable. And so when the actors aren't really saying a line of dialogue in a very natural way, you can kind of, notice the fact that something is not quite right here. So they were the two criticisms I have of the film, but as I said, fortunately it goes for 70 odd minutes, so it never gets sidetracked, and you can get distracted. These problems, you can distract yourself because of the high level of intensity and the high velocity that the film has. And as I said, it's just an incredibly entertaining film, and it's to showcase that Patricio Valladares is definitely a director that you should definitely keep an eye out for, is because he really knows how to make horror. So overall, for Downhill, is an incredibly intense experience, and it's an experience that I'm highly recommending, and as a result of that, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.